for joining the city in this great event. You are a true legend throughout Southern California and especially here in El Monte. Can you talk to us about how the times were when you hosted dances and events at the El Monte Legion Stadium?
Okay, they're no different than they are now, except there was a lot of different kinds of enthusiasm. Everybody wanted to dance. In those days, they didn't do just concerts. Well, we didn't anyway. And what we did were dances and shows. So we'd have a dance. The band would play so everybody could dance. The new business that was known as rock and roll. It was brand new then. And so there would be a dance, and they'd dance for an hour. They liked dancing better than the concert. And then they'd say, okay, we're going to take a little break now, and then we'll have a concert. So there'd be a half-hour break. Everybody would come in, and by then they could take put some chairs in and stuff, and they'd have a concert.
And why did you choose El Monte to start hosting your dances that became infamous throughout?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. And the reason was in the city of Los Angeles, there was an ordinance at that time. If you were under 18 years of age, you could not attend a public dance unless it was sanctioned by the city and the Board of Education, particularly the Board of Education. And they didn't have unsupervised dancing, so you had any kind of contact. You could have a concert, but not a dance and show, which was what we had. And people came from everywhere, especially young kids. Yeah.
What is your favorite memory of the El Monte Legion Stadium?
Oh, it's kind of cute. I'll tell you, I think it is anyway. I got a phone call. The El Monte Legion Stadium was a big place. A couple of stories high and lots of square footage, as big as any dance hall you'd want to ever see. And they had sports things there, boxing and all that. So it was a big stadium. And in this one particular night, Richie Valens is a big legend now, but he did his first shows with me. And we became friends. He liked to laugh a lot. He would throw his head back and go, ha, 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 ha. And I got a big kick out of that. And I told him never lose that, and he never did. So he was a friend, and he was still just 17. And I get a phone call. There was only one telephone in the whole building, for use by the people that had reason to use it, the artists and people like that. And somebody came up to me and said, Richie Valens' mom, Connie, is on the telephone, and she wants to talk to you. She says it's urgent about Richie. So I had to walk from, let's say, about from here clear over to that supermarket, downstairs, a long ways to get to the telephone, which was in the box office. It's a little long story, but it's very cute. And so when I get there, I say, hi, Connie, how's everything? She said, well, I have something very urgent to tell Richie, for you to give Richie a note, because I don't want to have to walk clear up to the telephone. I said, okay, what is it? She says, okay, I'll tell you, and she tells me, and I'm going to save the punchline because when I get upstairs, Richie says, what was it that she wanted that was so important that you had to go all the way down and take the phone call? She said I said, well, she said it was urgent. And he says, what was the urgency? He says, I said, she told me to tell you that after the dance, don't chase girls, just come home. And he goes, ha 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 ha, and he gave me his Richie Valens laugh. That was a standout story.
That's beautiful. The last question, I guess, you're legendary for coining the term oldies but goodies. How did you come up with that, and what is the significance?
That was in 1959, and it kind of happened, the name Oldies but Goodies, is that what you're after?
Mm-hmm.
That happened at the drive-in where I did my show. I did my show at what they called a drive-in restaurant, Scrivener's in those days. And I would talk to people in their cars. And that's where it came, where people say, I want to hear an old one, an oldie. And I said, well, don't you like hear the new stuff? He says, no, I like the old ones because they're good. And I said, you mean oldies? And I said, what, goodies? And she says, yeah, that's perfect, oldies but goodies. And that's how it happened.
Great. Okay, is there anything else that you want to add that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
No, I don't think so, except this is a very special place for me, El Monte, to come here today and see this fountain dedicated and see all the people coming to see the place and to see me and a lot of old friends, you know. And I don't think anybody will ever forget Oldies but Goodies. We put it on the map with our album series, and they still, when they call us, even now on my show, which is, by the way, on K-Day, every Sunday night from 6 to midnight. And so that's still the term oldies but goodies. It's got to be old and it's got to be good. And then it's an oldie but goodie. Just like me.
Okay, last question. How do you feel about the city giving you the highest honor a city could ever give, which is the key to the city?
Well, of course, I'm elated, and that's all I can say. I want to thank the city of El Monte and Jerry Velasco, the councilman who has been behind doing different projects like this, which are very, very good for, public service. And I'm glad he did. Glad to be here, everybody. And if you're an oldie but goodie, I'm sure you're going to enjoy our show on Sunday night on K-Day.
I know. See, I get it introduced and then Art Laboe walks in. Take your seats. I gotta tell you, that's the only time I've ever had a standing ovation. So I have to thank you for that. I can't even tell you what an honor and a thrill it is to be here today with all of you to share this very special day. Not only are we thanking the Olsen Company for their work in bringing these beautiful homes to our community, but we also get to recognize and I hope this is not too big to say, a living legend.
Hey, Art Laboe!
All right, I'll keep talking. No, but there are people who have come up to me throughout the years who have mentioned Legion Stadium. And I can't imagine, I'm sure that there's many of you here who still have memories of El Monte. Or memories of a special song that you danced to at Legion Stadium. Or a special relationship that was forged at Legion Stadium. And maybe a relationship you like to forget from Legion Stadium. But, music is something that transcends so much. And Art, throughout your years, you gave us that joy, the joy that you had of music and of people and celebrating the arts. And so we're so grateful today to get to be a very small part in that life journey of yours and to say, while you're with us still, thank you. On behalf of a grateful city, a grateful state, country, we all are so thrilled that you're here with us today, that we can share this special time with you and to say just thank you. Thank you very much. Now the rest of the council is going to say a few words, and we also have some other presentations today, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about this wonderful project that you're here. So thank you all for being with us today. Thank you.
I'd like to call up, and we will recognize several very important people here this morning with us, but at this time I would like to call up our Mayor Pro Tem, Juventino J. Gomez.
Notice what he said. You know, we have some very important people we're going to recognize, but for now, let me call the Mayor Pro Tem. Well, if that doesn't deflate. You know, I got here a little early. It's kind of, I never do. But I got here a little early and I met some great people from Palm Springs that way that came down, these two little ladies here. And we were talking, and they were talking about Art Laboe and memories and such. And I was a guy that, a kid that grew up in LA. And I remember coming up to the Almani Legion Stadium. This was way back before some of you were even born. I came up here with about 15 of my homeboys. I was in the stadium for about 10 minutes, then I got thrown out. Boy, that tells you. But Mr. Art Laboe, God bless you. I'm also a veteran, and I'm also a disabled veteran, and I'm also an advocate for veterans. And thank you. But the point I wanted to make is so much of his music, so much of his hosting radio stations and concerts, and so much that he did got a lot of us guys back in Nam, and coming back and being in the hospital and trying to get our lives together. He got us back together. Believe it or not, it does work. So bless you, Mr. Art Laboe. And I'm not going to say much more, but bless the Olsen Company for this project, and all of you that are here today. It's great, and you make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd now like to call up Councilwoman Victoria Martinez.
Good morning, Almani. This is a great day. First thing I want to say is thank you for joining us here on this property that was formerly the site of American Legion Stadium so many years ago. It was demolished in 1972, the year I was born. Don't do the math. So I didn't get a chance to experience it. But what I do know is that I grew up in the city of Monte, and for so many people who live here and love it here, their memories of American Legion Stadium are passed down generation to generation. And being a council member now, I knew that when the Olsen Company brought this project, that we as a council had to make sure that there was some discussion in regards to managing some memorial way to make sure that everybody remembered that American Legion Stadium was here. Now, not only was American Legion Stadium here, but the incredible and legendary Art Laboe helped bring so many people to the city of Almani from his broadcast. All right, little personal history. Years ago, I had another career, and that career was in radio. And one of my heroes is sitting in this space. And how many years ago was it? 6 years ago, we did the centennial. And for our centennial celebration, we knew that the legendary Art Laboe had to be a part of this celebration as well. So I got the chance to go to his studio. I'll never forget that day and meet one of my heroes, the the legendary Art Laboe. And every time we say that, we might as well clap. It's a blessing to be here with you. Thank you for, again, highlighting and bringing so many to our city so that they can see the wonders of El Monte. So in a DJ style, I want to put you guys all on a Sunday night. You've got your radio on, carne asada on the barbecue. You know how it is. You turn that radio up, and you're always ready to hear this. This next dedication goes to the legendary Art Laboe. Dedicating the song Memories of El Monte by the Penguins. From your girl in El Monte, Shorty. Or Smiley, or whatever you want to call me today. You know what? One of these days I'm going to get one of those dedications on. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. God bless you. Thank you, Olsen Development, for choosing El Monte. Let's celebrate. Am I right? Let's celebrate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And now I would like to invite up our council member, Jerry Velasco.
Good morning. Well, what a day, what a day. I mean, for me and for all of us, it's a great day today. We know the great legend, you know, who does it? Art Laboe. Art Laboe. Let's hear it again for Art Laboe. You know, I had the pleasure. I come from the entertainment industry, and I remember talking to Ricardo Montalban and Anthony Quinn and all these people that knew who he was. And thank God that you're still with us. And he's always been such a pleasure to be around with. This is an individual, I could go on and on and on, but one of the things is that when I got elected, besides everything else that I'm supposed to be doing as an elected councilman, is I made a commitment to the city and to myself to bring the arts back to the city, more so than what it was a few years ago. And we've had some arts, but some of it was taken away. And as we all know, a city without music, a city without arts, is a dark place. And that's one of the things that I have made one of my goals. What we're doing today is just a small token of appreciation what you have done for not only for us, for everyone. You, who doesn't remember, you know, memories from El Monte, you know, Angel Baby, you know, Rosalie Hamlin. And if it wasn't for this man that made it a point to give opportunities to people that in those days, back then, otherwise would not have the opportunity. He didn't care. He took on the industry way before many people took on the entertainment industry. And he said, I'm going to promote people that do not have an opportunity out there. And there was a lot of racism and bigotry. And he didn't care. He didn't care about his career. He knew he had a mission. He was way ahead of his times. And we had a lot of stars that otherwise would have not have become stars if it hadn't been for him. So thank you for what you've done, and you're still doing. And in a lot of cities, major cities, Los Angeles, other cities, you didn't have interracial mixing of people. Musicians or dancers, you could not dance whether you were, you know, if you were black, you were white, you were white, you know, you were segregated. He did not. He opened the doors for them. So thank you, thank you. And that's why whenever we put on productions here in the city and we see people that cannot afford a ticket. We make sure that they get in if they don't have the funds. Because he also made it a point, and he would see young ladies and young men that would be looking in the purse and their pockets to see if they had this $25, 25 cents extra to get in, and then they didn't have it. He said, let them in. And that's the way it should be. No one should be left out of the arts because they grow. We get them off the streets. And this is just the beginning. And I have a commitment that I want to build a performing arts like we had here before, here in the city of El Monte. And maybe that performing arts will be called the Laboe Performing Arts Center here in El Monte. So that is one of the things that I am going to be pushing for more. This is just the beginning. There's more that we should have done for you, and we are going to be doing for you, because you have a long way to go. So you gotta hang in there, because we want to put up a lot of things for you. You're an inspiration. You immortalize the city of El Monte forever. So thank you for everything that you're doing and that you've done. Thank you.
At this point, and sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to call up or recognize some dignitaries in the crowd this morning. Representing the Honorable Grace Napolitano, Congresswoman, 32nd District, Elena Robles. From our El Monte Union High School District Board of Education, we have our board clerk, David Diaz. We have our board member, Florencio Briones. From our El Monte, South El Monte Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, Ken Rausch. And of course, the gentleman who led our pledge this morning, our police captain, David Vatrin. Our Economic Development Director, Min Tai. Our Planning Commissioner, Alfredo Nuno. We also have Mr. Manuel Lozano, Mayor of Baldwin Park. We have Robert Gonzalez with the City Council for the City of Azusa. We also have our partners in this project, Scott Laurie, President and CEO of the Olsen Company. John Rixton, Senior President of Development, also for the Olsen Company. Doris Wynn, Director of Development for the Olsen Company as well. So that, and thank you, Min, for that. Min and the team here and the council's leadership really made this project possible, and I want to thank all of them for that, because it's significant here in the city of El Monte. And as we go on, move on here, we want to move on to the ribbon cutting. We want to thank you, council members, for being here to celebrate this ribbon cutting and for your continued success. We also have a representative from the Olsen Company as well, who would like to say a few words before we do that. And I'll call upon President and CEO of the Olsen Company, Scott Laurie, who partnered with the city in making this project a reality.
I thought everybody was out here for us. Dina, you didn't tell me that. Yes, Mr. Labeau, we need you at every community that we do. You were hired. You were hired. On behalf of the Olsen Company, I want to thank the city. What an incredible partner you've been. Min, I love saying the name Alexander Hamilton. Very, very famous man. You guys have been absolutely incredible in making this happen. This is our second community in this wonderful city, and we hope to do more. And we take great pride in what we've been able to accomplish here. And we already have many happy homeowners who are living here. Many more will be moving in soon. What is important to us, we love the history and the legacy here. We love building community. We take great pride in customer service. And I know the city appreciates that. For the third year in a row, we just received the Align Award as #1 home builder in North America for customer service. We can't do anything we do without great cities like El Monte, and we can't do it without an incredible team. And I just want to congratulate John Reese and Doris and all the Olsen associates on really creating an amazing, amazing community here. So thank you to John and everybody. Doris, there you are. I think you've been hiding a little bit. Come on up here. I need whistles for Doris. So Doris has led this effort, and a big part of this project in working with the city and the community was a commemoration. And Doris, no one has worked harder on this fountain. She's built it twice to make sure that it got right. And incredible passion, and our artist is here as well, who just did an amazing job. It's beautiful. And the water is running. I love seeing that today. But I want to turn it over to Doris and thank Doris for everything she's done, and she's going to talk about the commemoration. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, everyone, for coming today. We really appreciate you coming out in the rain. I know it was a little bit tough. I hope you guys got a chance to take a look at the models and walk through the sales office. When you go through the sales office, you'll see that we have a plan throughout the community through the end of construction. Part of that plan, it involves a series of open space areas. And one of them is really near and dear to our heart. It's the one here on Valley. It's the public plaza. And that public plaza, it actually pays tribute to the rich history of the city of El Monte, and that's why it's so special to us. Now, what we did was, as you know, the site is the previous location of the American Legion Stadium, which many of you know, a lot of people consider as the birthplace of rock and roll in Southern California. And what we did is we asked artist Rebecca Niederlander to create a memorial to the American Legion Stadium. And Rebecca is here today. You know, and towards the end of the presentation, we'll head over and we'll take a photo so everyone can see it at the end. And so you'll notice in the plaza there is a fountain in which Miss Niederlander created a piece of artwork, and that's called Memories of El Monte. And she interviewed radio DJ Art Laboe, and everyone knows he is responsible for much of the stadium's success. And of course, we are honored, absolutely honored, that Mr. Laboe is here today. So as part of the artwork, Ms. Lee Niederlander asked Mr. Laboe for his remembrances of the site and of that time, and his thoughts were then sculpted into a 3D sound wave, which was then cast inside the fountain. So it's a bit of an abstraction, but when we go over and you'll see, it's really fantastic. So Mr. Laboe's words, of course, hold center stage inside the fountain, while the multicolored tiles around the edges of the fountain, they symbolize all the diverse races, people, incomes that came from all over Southern California to be part of the earliest days of rock and roll. Even the shape of the fountain was intentionally chosen to resemble the old 45s from back in the day. Yeah. Now you might be wondering, what were Mr. Laboe's remembrances that created such an intricate sound wave? So here's what he said. There was a lot of duplication of friendships and just a lot of fun on Saturday night, as we all danced and sang and had a great time. Times we will never forget, lives in the hearts and minds of the thousands that attended El Monte Legion Stadium through the years. This is Art Laboe, and I sure hope that you all have as good a time as we had back in the day at El Monte Legion Stadium. See you there Saturday night.
So in a minute, we will have a ribbon cutting to celebrate this housing project, and then we'll walk over to the fountain with Mr. Labeau as well. And a lot has been said about the history of the site, and I won't repeat myself on that, but I do want to say we are very proud to share this day with one of the biggest radio stars of the last decades. The city of El Monte is proud to proclaim today, Saturday, March 10th, 2018, as Art Labeau Day. Mr. Labeau, if you could step up, please. Thank you.
I said I've seen one of these before. Like every day. Well, I'm so glad you're all here, and I am overwhelmed with your, invocation and treating me the way you have today. I expected to see a lot of friends, but I never expected such a big ovation and making my heart beat a little faster, And speaking of my heart, I just wanted to let you all know something that I said at the National Hispanic Coalition when they gave me their award. I often get requests saying, well, what sticks out in your mind, And they say, why are you're not a Latino, why do you care about catering to these people? I said, well, I never went after them, they sort of came after me. El Monte, and we got to meet each other, and we got to liking each other. I got to liking the community, I got to liking the people, I got to liking just about everything, and I was single then, I also liked the girls. So I should have put that first, maybe. But if you were listening to the radio in the 50s when someone mentioned here, I was the first to play rock and roll here on the West Coast. I definitely did not invent rock and roll. The entertainers and the musicians and the Richie Valens and people like that. Even little Julian Herrera. Does that ring a bell? Little Julian Herrera used to hang around El Monte Legion Stadium all the time. And he was here and then he disappeared. We don't know what happened to him, but anyway, I get asked a lot, and so if anybody knows where he is, have him get a hold of us. We might have him make the hit record. Yeah. And speaking of hit records, people sometimes, I was asked tonight for the city's television program, and I'm going to repeat it here in case some of you don't get to see it. Said, what stands out sometimes, when you think about El Monte Legion Stadium? I said, well, there's a picture of it over here, you see it. It's just right behind all these people, a picture of El Monte Legion Stadium. As you can see, it's a huge, huge building. And it's called the El Monte Legion Stadium because I guess it was sanctioned and helped put together by the American Legion. And anyway, this one day, it was pretty early in my radio show at the time from the drive-in, and I recall a story from Richie Valens, who played here for me in his very first performances. And he's, well, very revered in your community, which you know. And this one day, we were backstage, and the backstage there was in that upper story. When you take a look at the building, you'll see how big a place it really is. It's about a half a block long. And this one day, someone came up to me and said, Richie Valens' mother is on the telephone and she wants to talk to you. She says it's urgent. There was only one telephone in the building. It was down in the box office, which was about what you call a half a block away. And I said, well, it must be real urgent, I guess I'll have to go. So she wanted to talk to me. I walked all the way down there. It seemed like about a half a block, up and down some flights of stairs and then back up. And I get up there, and Richie knew that his mother was on the phone. And he says, what does my mother want with you that's so urgent? I said, well, I'll tell you exactly what she said. She said, Art, be sure and tell Richie. It's very important. Come home right after the show. Don't chase those young girls. And Richie threw his head back in that laugh that he had. That was such a good one. You even hear it on some of his records. He goes, ah. I don't know. I saw her later. I didn't see her until the movie, the Richie Valens story came out. And she was there to see it at the premiere, and her daughter was there sitting next to her. And she saw me walk in. I hadn't seen her. I didn't know her real well, but I met her on a few occasions. She did like me, and I liked her. And I could see why Richie had that heart that he had. And she said, I got your message last year, and I said, I took care of it for you. I said, that was a long walk, and she also got a big laugh out of it. So that was a good story, I thought, that happened. Part of what happened at El Monte Legion Stadium. Richie Valens, and we'll never forget Richie Valens, that's for sure. Oh, coming back to the other thing, he said, well, you're not Latino, so why should you be caring so much about Latinos and catering to them and everything? And I said, well, I don't know, but I do have a rapport with Latinos everywhere, of all kinds. And I said, it's just one of those things that happen. And I said, I'm not Latino, but my heart is Mexican. I'll leave it at that. I'll see you on the radio Sunday night.
So on behalf of the entire City Council, I have the honor to present this proclamation to Art Labeau, and I'm going to read it for all of you because it shares some very special words. And I can tell you, in the 8+ years I've been mayor, I have never given an honorary key to the city to anyone. That's how special it is and how special art is to us. So let's give them, again, a big round of applause. Whereas in 1955, Art Labeau made his debut in Los Angeles as a DJ for radio station KXLA, also known as KRLA, and eventually became known as the father of rock and roll radio, being the first DJ to play rock and roll music artists such as Chuck Berry and Jackie Wilson. Whereas the city of El Monte became Mr. Labeau's broadcasting and MC headquarters when he rotated his weekly radio broadcasts and live shows to the El Monte Legion Stadium from the city of Los Angeles. Whereas the move opened the door for the younger listening audience to attend the live shows and broadcasts because of a Los Angeles city ordinance that restricted gatherings of people under the age of 18. Whereas El Monte became an entertainment magnet for black, white, and Chicano youth, as well as aspiring rock and roll stars such as Richie Valens. Whereas Art Labeau released one of the first oldies compilations, Memories of El Monte, in 1960, featuring a collection of songs by bands that used to play at the dances he organized at El Monte Legion Stadium. And whereas the album also inspired a song recorded by the Penguins in 1963 entitled Memories of El Monte. Whereas in recognition of Mr. Labeau's significant contribution to the history of music and music culture in Southern California, the city of El Monte and Union Walk Development Project site where the former El Monte Legion Stadium once stood, the City Council wishes to proclaim March 10, 2018 as Art Labeau Day and to present Mr. Art Labeau with the honorary key to the city, and it's signed and proclaimed by the entire City Council. And if you want to tune in to hear Mr. Art Labeau, you can hear him on Sundays. It's on his hat.
many years have I been on the air? Well, no, I've been on the air. I'm in my 75th year. That's the truth. I'm carrying in my, most of you know who the Screen Actors Guild and AFRA is. I'm carrying one of their cards in my membership card, and it says member since 1943. I was just 18 years old. I was in San Francisco. I was in the Navy at Treasure Island. I was based there, but they let me live off base. So I walked into a radio station in San Francisco, KSAN, and said my first words on the air there.
Great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you.
And you can see all the multicolored tiles inside.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then the water, the way the water drops, it looks like it's dancing. Right?
That's good.
Over here, please. We're good? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You got a beautiful city.
Yes. Where's the artist? We're going to have Rebecca. Rebecca's right with me. Let's get her up so much.
Hi there.
Hi.
Well, I'm glad you came over.
Yes.
Come back in. In the middle right here. Thank you. You probably not.
Well, you know, but it's all. Does it feel like a stadium
We talked about this a long time ago,
Yeah, we did.
and I'm glad we were able to do it all.
Yeah, me too.
And Mr. Rubin,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
he's
in
just a
the making.
fan. He's just a fan. It's all. Mr. Rubin calls in. Well, you ain't been calling in very much lately.
Sometimes be busy.
Ah, they can't get through, huh? Busy line, he said.
And all these girls up there, up and on. That's
That's
the city. I know the city right there with the
right.
phone.
Big smiles.
Let's go to the car. We're going to wait for the car over here. Police escort. Perfect. Just grab anything you want to grab. All right.
Love you all. Love you all. Thank you for listening to my programs and coming to our concerts.
You'll be back.
Awesome, Art. We love you here in Oman.
Watch your step, sir. Watch your step.
Bye.